Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen, to the Hemp Tours Live podcast. It's Thursday, 1 p.m. Central Time. So here we are celebrating 420 week, Earth Day. Really excited to have some awesome guests on here today. So be sure to drop any comments, any questions you have there in the chat box, and we'll get it out. So I am, of course, your host, Leah Laxtons. I'm a native Kentuckian with a passion for hemp, living in the great state of Texas, and the co-founder of Higher Ed Hemp Tours, along with my two awesome co-founders. We've got Captain Cannabis in the house.
Hey guys, keeping positive, right? We're helping the farmers, have a place to park this plant, and we're going to be talking about that today too.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, our producer, Cynthia Morales.
Hi, everyone. Happy Earth Day. Thanks for joining us today.
And we have some awesome guests today. Returning with us, Mr. White Rabbit, Johan from South Africa.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
Love the wine, love the wine. We got to get in the mood. And we've got Derek with us. Derek, what's going on from
Arizona? Great to be here with you guys today.
Yes, from Arizona. Yes, awesome. And from the great state of Texas as well. We've got Geoff in the house.
Hey, everybody.
Awesome, awesome. So what we want to talk about today is, of course, Earth Day. We're going to take it back and talk about what happens to the hemp plant from seed to sale. And we're going to talk about some of the cool things we did for 420, get to know our guests a little bit better. So we want to jump right in, and we want to start with you, Geoff. Tell us a little bit about what you do at Green Zero Labs and your journey to getting into the hemp industry.
Man, it's been a long, weird ride. I definitely did not ever expect to be where I'm sitting today. But I spent most of my 20s in the Air Force, oddly enough, and did a lot of hazmat handling, explosives and nuclear materials, things like that I had no idea would be prepping me for laboratory work. Went to UT on the GI Bill to get my chemistry degree, and it just lined up perfectly with the pass of the Compassionate Use Act here in Texas. So went into the medical side of things first. Worked alongside a lot of neurologists making the formulations, working with intractable epilepsy patients first. And as soon as HB 1325 passed and we knew we could do an over-the-counter product and try to hit a broader audience, it was a opportunity we couldn't pass up. So started a CO2 extraction facility following a lot of that medical IP and QA/QC standards, and just slogging through it every day, living the dream.
Man, hold it. Are you saying that Texas has a medical marijuana program? Oh my God.
I mean, I'd say that's a very nice way to put it. Fingers crossed some legislation passes here in the upcoming months to actually make it a true MMJ program, because really we all consider it still full spectrum as CBD for all intents and purposes. But yeah, it's been very interesting being alongside doctors and seeing the forefront. Like, I was a skeptic. I called CBD the O'Douls of cannabis for a long time. And I love getting proven wrong on things like that. I've been turned every step of the way, and I love all the products. So it's been great.
Yeah, I always say, I'm an O'Doul's fan, so it's great. Like, to each their own, right? But we had an awesome bus tour on 420, Geoff, and we got to come out and tour your facility at Green Zero, which was extremely exciting. And you had a little inside product launch, some info. Do you want to drop that on the podcast, or is that still kind of under wraps for right now?
No, I actually have a bottle right here, just in case that came up, but we're still standing by for the last step of the COA. It takes a couple extra days to get all the microbial testing, make sure that everything passed the safety board, but looking at Eeyore's birthday this Saturday to go fully public with our launch. But this is our 5 milliliter hemp-derived Delta-9 THC shot. So it's actually a 1-to-1-to-1, has Delta-9, also CBC and CBD in it. We've been taste testing it all week. It's a real mellow experience, not overwhelming. You don't have to deal with the anxiety of a lot of edibles. We're extremely excited to see how this is received, and we can scale it up past this test run.
Very, very cool stuff.
Can you also explain too why how you made this? Now, remember, Geoff was working for compassionate cultivation. So he was in the legal medical marijuana creations. He was the scientist
here in Texas,
creating this.
yeah.
So he knows the legalities. Can you walk us through the legalities of how that product, is totally a legal product, but yet it is THC?
So early on in the Texas medical program specifically, the way the law was written is they required a minimum amount of CBD, and then a maximum amount of THC. So that set our CBD to THC ratio. So that eventually was removed from that medical program. And then as the over-the-counter products, that was just never written into it. Right now, the 0.3% is the only qualifying or limiting factor on the Delta 9. So we did the math in our heads and we're like, 0.25%, we'll stay under the legal limit. But at 5 grams, that's 1/3 of a tablespoon. This is not a large dose at all. And we can get 12.5 milligrams in there. We kind of expected somebody else to do it first, and we were waiting and waiting, and we were like, no, like we can't keep sitting on this. When you do THC remediation and you have it standing by, a lot of people will convert it to CBN. A lot of people use our byproducts in Delta 8 and things like that. And like, why bother converting it to something else? This is exactly what people want, and if we can hit that legal limit, let's do it.
You're a genius.
Amazing.
You are a genius.
Well, I can't wait to try it and see it on the store shelves. Extremely exciting, Geoff. I think you're doing a great service for Texans with the development of this product. Now, I want to get to you, Derek, over in Arizona. We had a great conversation about what you're doing in the industry. So tell us a little bit about your company and what got you into this world of cannabis and hemp.
Sure. Well, like Geoff, I probably have an unlikely beginning to my introductions to this industry. I started out as a CPA. I am still a CPA, but I was an accountant, an auditor at one of the big accounting firms, Deloitte & Touche. And as an auditor, they taught me to back up or look for evidence to back up the assertions made by companies. So the more reliable, the more independent and tamper-proof the source of data, the source of evidence, the more reliable it's deemed to be. So I had this thought process throughout my career. I went from various finance departments in publicly traded companies. I ended up at a supplements company and that sold natural products, including a lot of hemp and CBD products. And while at that company, I really got to know the industry well and could see that industry participants are tripping all over themselves to try to validate their claims of, hey, we have the best supply chain, we have this and this ingredient, and but there's very little actual evidence to back it up. And around that time, this was about 3 years ago, I became familiar with blockchain technology. A couple of my good friends, one of them's a research professor at ASU who started their blockchain research lab. Another one of my friends is a big time ERP implementation specialist, and the two of them had started a blockchain company. So I hired them at my company to do a pilot program, and it had a lot of success or a lot of promise. So I left that my natural products company and started HealthLOQ with them. And blockchain, I'm sure most people have heard about it, but maybe don't know exactly what it is. And maybe most people probably associate it with Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. And it's the technology that makes those cryptocurrencies possible, but it has tons of other applications. And supply chain transparency and tracking is certainly one of them that it lends itself well to. And I guess about the origin of my company, it's more broad, I guess, than just supplements and hemp products, but just in general, trust in the world the overall level of trust is decreasing big time. But anyone can say what they want to, but few actually provide evidence to back up their claims. And especially we see this in the hemp industry a lot too. So blockchain itself, it's a system, it's really a revolutionary system of record keeping. It changes the way data is created, disclosed, stored, and secured, and recorded. And it establishes a new digital relationship at the network level or ecosystem level. And because it operates at this ecosystem level, the data can't be changed or manipulated, and it's a more reliable single source of truth. And a blockchain also allows you to verify the source of the information, so it makes it inherently more trustworthy.
Accurate.
So what HealthLOQ is, it's a platform. It's a cloud-based blockchain-powered platform that consumers can go to for trusted, detailed information about specific supplement or hemp products, all the way down to the product level, all the way down to the batch level, I should say, batch or lot information. And so we empower, our whole value proposition is we empower companies to use transparency as a competitive advantage and a differentiator, and really we want them to market the truth and not just rely on storytelling. We want the companies that are doing things right, like Geoff, for example. That's awesome to hear. He's waiting to put the product out, until they do all the proper testing, get COAs, get everything in order, making sure that those responsible companies have a platform to really be differentiated on. And that's our stake. We want consumers to have a place they can go to for trusted information, and they don't just have to cross their fingers and hope that they're being told the truth about what they're putting in their bodies.
I think it's amazing from a consumer safety point aspect. And of course, being Earth Day, the sustainability side that you're verifying that as well. There's a lot of greenwashing, it's called, where you're like, yeah, this is recyclable, except there's not really any process to actually recycle it. So it's just marketing without the actions to back it up. So I love it. I think consumers, as they find out about this, are going to demand this sort of transparency, not just in our industry, but across the board. Because I'm always like, when I see an Advil bottle, I'm like, hey, where's the lab test? Like, do I really know this is exactly these milligrams? But you really start to think of it across your entire life. Like, who is verifying what's in this bottle? The company themselves? Well, what kind of merit does that have? Sometimes that's enough, but we don't really know without visiting. So I love it, Derek, and we'll get back and talk some more about the sustainability aspects of that. But Johan, we want to get over to you. What is going on in South Africa? How was your 420 week, and what have you been into?
Guys, pleased to meet you all. I go by the alias of Mr. White Rabbit. I am in the tourism industry and in South Africa, and we had a cracker of a week last week. I must say, we had a company from Johannesburg coming down to Cape Town. They did the whole tour for their company, down visiting all the head shops, bong shops, and farms and Rastafarians, because we're quite big in the Rastafarian community in South Africa. And we just launched our first 2 tours. We're hoping to get up some bookings coming to the end of the year. The one would be weed and wine, and the other one would be scurrying in the city, where you visit all the basically the highlights of Cape Town and all the hidden gems, like a shout out to Medulis, which is homemade. The guy has worked for a French dairy, and he makes ice cream from coconut milk, and it's completely vegan, and it's THC infused, and it's CBD infused, and it's dark chocolate, and it's amazing. And and the other shop, bliss.co, what an amazing company, because we just spoke about greenwashing and people putting in some presenting their stock as word of mouth, and which is not always presentable, and you can't always trust everybody, that's the thing. This company, where we start our tours, we end up our tours, they do rose and dab, but they've got the machinery and the equipment to where you bring your own product, and we test it and tell you, how moist it is, how much THC is in it, and if it's too wet, if it's too dry, so that exactly the product wise, what are you putting into your body, because that's very important for you. If you're overgrowing, if you're undergrowing, putting in too much water, too much soil, what's happening? But that's very important. So it's very informative, and it explains the whole pressing process. And because for us, and the next thing that we are looking at We Travel SA is introduction to the new people, to the new markets, people that has not consumed cannabis or THC in a large amount, to kind of cozier them into the industry, to tell them, listen, This is how it tastes. We won't overdose you. We won't let you sit on a chair and think you're gonna fall off, or something crazy like that. We respect the clients and the people, and I'm privileged to work with people that's got that that respect in the industry for other people. I'm truly blessed in that regards. But yeah, also this weekend last weekend we've been procuring accommodation, 420 friendly accommodation across the Western Cape of South Africa. So it would be members clubs, that's members clubs, but it would be included into the accommodation, into the tour package. And I must tell you, it's marvelous. If you go look on the IG and you go look at the views from Constantia, which is like one of the best vineyard areas, you'll just see exactly. So it's very exciting what we're busy with. The future looks exciting in the tourism sector from cannabis.
That is so incredible. The one thing that I think that I appreciate about you is different than the pharmaceutical companies, because, you know, if someone's like 115 pounds and they give her some Xanax, and they say, oh, take two of those. Well, there's no education on taking prescription medication. And yet this is a natural plant that does give you a buzz, but it's beautiful to find people like you that are educating people on how to handle what, you know, to go little by little. So that's incredible. I think we all need to go to Cape Town, guys. Let's go to Africa.
Oh, for sure. For sure. It's on the list. And I think that's what Mr. White Rabbit and us and a lot of other of the cannabis tourism professionals, you know, we've been talking about. If you look at the stats, it's like 27% of people that come on all of our tours have never tried any kind of cannabis before. And we see that very true on ours as well. And they're looking for a guide. They're looking for accurate info. And the last thing we want to do is like smoke all this and eat all this. So we're really particular, like Mr. White Rabbit. There's so many amazing tour operators across the world.
You talk about Denver? Because you go to Denver or actually Amsterdam was worse. You go into Amsterdam and they say, oh, here, have a brownie. And it's like
American,
a
giant
piece of cake.
Get this space cake and call us next year and let us know how it was. For sure. And so it's exciting. What an exciting time for the tourism industry, for tour guides to get to that, maybe cannabis enthusiasts as well, to get to bridge these gaps, and amazing. And Johan, you said that it was a company that did this. Were they in the cannabis industry, or was this kind of like a retreat for their employees?
Okay, so multiple companies. I mean, there's hundreds in Cape Town, and they're popping up more and more along the time as time passes by. So some of them are accommodation, some of them are restaurant owners with burgers that's infused with CBD or CBD energy drinks, THC energy drinks. I had some, well, you know, it's kind of like, you know, having an energy drink and calling it CBD is counteractive, you know. So I had my energy drink and I was sitting there like, oh, I'm tired now. I'm tired. So yeah, but very interesting, like the ice cream shops, the destinations. What we would do is we'd start by doing a rosin dab, depending on the product and the strain and the intensity. Some of the products can get quite intense because the laws in South Africa, like we mentioned, is quite grey. However, that's why we do the membership club, because we're talking about the flowering period, which is about 4 months. And then you have to be kind of member for 4 months, but that would allow you then as a consumer, as a client, to legally be able to consume because you're part of the club, so you have someone growing for you. And ultimately, if you have that product and you say, you know what, we don't want a 60%, you don't want a 60% potency, you want something a bit less, you know, then obviously it's something you can choose on your own.
Very cool. Very cool.
You need to check out the terpene profile on that energy one. I mean, you got to have like a limonene or some other terpene that's more of an energy-based terpene profile. So you might ask the manufacturer about that. What kind of terpene profile are they using
Oh yes,
inside there?
so yeah, they do the terpene profiles as well. But like I said, as a tour guide, I take you to the expert in the area of dabs and rosin, and they will explain to you, the clients, the whole process and what it's about. Because we've got farmers from Swaziland, the late Swaziland, now known as the Kingdom of Eswatini, and they've got cannabis, huge cannabis farms there, and in the shop they will test it and then work out all the details with regards to that. I'm more specialized into, after you had your nice dab, going into the mountainous areas. Okay, not too rocky, but into nature. You want to be next to the water, you want to be next to the beach, you want to see some beautiful antelope, and we've got, South Africa's blessed with the big five, actually the big seven, but I don't think you want to go on a boat and smoke. But but yeah, it's very exciting. Yeah.
That's amazing. We can't wait to get down there for sure. And you can go follow Mr. White Rabbit on Instagram to see all about the inside look at everything that he's doing down in South Africa. Now, we mentioned it is Earth Day, you guys. So I was thinking we could kind of talk about some of our fondest memories of Earth Day. I remember like being a kid and there was some special with celebrities. And that was kind of the first time I heard about, oh, what's Earth Day? And it was like, don't throw trash on the ground. And I thought, man, that makes so much sense. That is kind of a ridiculous thing to do. And then it evolved kind of like what's going in the landfills and all of that. So, Geoff, do you have any Earth Day memories in particular?
And not too much off the top of my head. I have to admit, it's something my wife gives me a hard time about, of not being a holiday person. That she calls me Ebenezer Scrooge sometimes, of like the military kind of beat it out of me when you're a single guy. It's like, oh yeah, you get to work every holiday ever, or be deployed or things like that. So it's just a kind of everyday kind of grind. That we try to incorporate that in everything, from like minimizing any of the plastics we use to like our mailers now are compostable and things like that, of rolling it into where like it just meshes with the hemp industry so well. Like, the CO2 footprint, like a bioaccumulator, which A is why we go so far with the COAs to make sure the product's safe, but B, when you need to clean out your soil, heck, they even use it as radiation remediation at Chernobyl. This stuff is awesome at cleaning up the planet. So it's just things like that I'm like constantly reminded of, like, it just feels good doing something it's productive and you don't have negative byproducts.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. So is that why, your Instagram, because, Instagram is all about like all the holidays. So Geoff's Instagram is just extraction, more extraction. We need a good Earth Day post, a good Valentine's Day post here, Geoff.
Definitely,
come on.
yeah.
You got to get with the
terrible
socials.
about social media. I got to get better. Just
No,
a scientist, not a marketer. I'm doing my best.
Hey, and that's the way to do it. Create an awesome product and the people will come. So it's good. And so Geoff talked about the remediation factors of hemp, how it was used at Chernobyl, and we know it cleans the earth really well. So Derek, this is kind of where you come in with your technology, because that's awesome, except if that hemp ends up in a consumable product, right?
Exactly. In terms of my favorite Earth Day, and besides this one, which obviously I'm on the show, so this ranks right up there.
There we go.
I also just recently watched a webinar on the sustainability and responsibility sourcing of the botanical industry. So that was really cool. And obviously, regenerative agriculture is something that's starting to affect hemp farmers as well. Not catering, but really advertising and really focusing on those conscious consumers. But also, I'd say this is one of my favorite Earth Days too, because I still, just like last year, I've been able to procrastinate on doing my taxes, and so enjoying another additional day of not doing anything on this. So that's good.
Amen to that. Because I know my birthday's on the 14th and it's always hard to enjoy it. And this year it was like, we had snowpocalypse. We have like so many reasons why you got to delay your taxes this year, which I don't know if that's good, because the pressure is good, but I'm not gonna lie. Like there's a lot of April 13th where I'm like, gosh, my birthday's tomorrow. I guess I'm gonna finish these taxes and, try to have a beer later. So I am 100% with you on that one, for sure. But yeah, really interesting. And again, when like with your product, the consumer's able to actually see even the soil analysis. So that would come from the farmer. Like they do that test. Obviously, they need to do that before they grow. A blockchain, essentially.
That's right. Exactly right. Yeah, and it's great to be able on this Earth Day to have a product that I think can greatly contribute to the overall healing of our planet. The more reporting there is. I mean, the more if you measure something, then that activity gets encouraged and it gets done. If something gets measured and reported, then yeah, it's going to increase. And that's what our platform is designed to do, and to reward those who actually are doing something and give them the means and the data communication infrastructure to be able to contribute that and market the truth, not just tell a story, and have that verifiable, independent, or that tamper-proof data available to the consumer. So yeah, there's a number, there's a hierarchy of information that you can report on a blockchain. And obviously self-reporting information is good. If you're doing the test yourself, you have some sort of evidence to back up what you're doing, then that's fantastic, that's good. What's even better is having a third party like the farmer contribute directly to the blockchain, which this is what we do. We make it really easy for people to interact with the technology. So a farmer contributing to the story of your platform is even better. And then, what's best is having a third party like a farmer or the extraction facility who's doing independent tests, or the third party, the testing lab, also contributing to the story of your product. But having an independent certification agency who's opining on, the operations and internal controls and whatnot. So with blockchain, you get a much more full and collaborative picture of the product and how it's contributing to product quality or sustainability or even diversity or other environmental, social, or governance issues that you really want to highlight. It's just a much more credible platform than just you saying something, because anybody can say anything they want, right?
Absolutely. And we do see that in this industry and all industries, but
who's your primary customer though? Is it just one segment or every segment? Does each segment that joins with you contribute to revenue to help you guys grow?
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, our focus is on brands. Those are probably the ones that those definitely provide most of our revenue. And my background is in supplements and in hemp products. So that's really the focus. The niche we're focusing on is dietary supplements and hemp CBD products.
Very, very cool. Well, thanks everyone for joining us over on Facebook. Remember, you can drop your questions in if you have any questions for Geoff, Derek, or Mr. White Rabbit. Hello to Lauren. Hello to Catherine. Thank you guys for stopping by. And everyone on Instagram, remember that y'all can go over to Facebook at at Official Hemp Tours and see the feed in its natural form, the way it's supposed to be consumed here with all the nice sound. But if you love being on Instagram, because Cynthia interjects little cute comments, I cannot fault you for that either. That's probably where I would watch. So I totally get it. But we do love it when you come over to Facebook and drop in some questions for us over here. So Mr. White Rabbit, how about Earth Day in South Africa? What is it like down there? Let me get you unmuted.
Oh, and while he's unmuting, it also on Facebook Live, you guys
okay.
Drop your
there you go. There we go.
We hear you. We hear you.
Cool. So Earth Day in South Africa, we've got some companies like Dem Roots, as well as Nordic Canna. Wonderful companies. The one's in retailing, the other one is in soil regeneration education, which is also something that we'll be offering to people, is to learn about the soil and the nutrients. So on Earth Day, what we're doing in South Africa at the moment, just the Cape Town side, we're really into how can I put this, self-sustainability for your own household, for your own communities. Every community in Cape Town, we try to prompt and teach every individual in the area, plant your own vegetables, gardens, herbs. And if you don't know, we've got the community groups and people supporting, and at least everyone that knows someone that's in the soil regeneration area, expertise about that. Just the other day, I was in the garden and putting some more spinach and Afrikanertjies. It's the marigolds. We call it Afrikanertjies, and it is a natural pesticide, so it keeps away all the insects. And we're busy planting and gaan mal. Afrikaanse woord vir vandag. Go crazy, go mad.
I love it. I love that viewpoint, to start with our own households, our own communities. What can we do more of? I know from our experience inside of the health and beauty industry, it was quite disturbing to know that how many products, we have the commingled recycling, but there's not really, most localities, local communities don't have the ability to recycle those if they have anything in them. So you throw away or you recycle a milk jug that still has a little bit of milk in it without rinsing it, and that ultimately goes to a landfill and creates like a whole process where they have to sort all this in the facility. So we, starting with our own household, rinse everything, then put it in, and then you spread that word, and then slowly things get better. Some education, I think there's definitely lack of education there from the actual recycle facilities. We're like, why don't you tell people this? You guys just do like a PBS special or 60 Minutes or, get it on Good Morning America or something and tell people to rinse everything. But it is ultimately up to us, the change that we seek. We have to start it, and it starts with us. So that's really amazing. And I think that's the way, especially here in the Austin area, the community is very much focused that way. So we love to see that happen. And for Earth Day, what an awesome concept. Earth Day starts at home. It starts with us. So that's incredible. Well, guys, I want to see if there's any news, events, anything like that you guys would like to talk about, and also how people can get in touch with you. What the best way for people to get in touch with you is, Geoff. So, Geoff, I know you got the new product out. So, hoping for ER's birthday launch. So, tell us a little more about that and any other events you have going on.
Yeah. I mean, we were kind of bummed out. It's a real fun Austin annual celebration that we do here. That's usually kind of a 420 follow-on. We get the weekend before to be our 420s and reggae fest and all that, and then the following weekend we get Eeyore's birthday. But it was canceled this year. There's going to be a really cool hemp and wellness convention that we're going to just attend as attendees. And next month we're going to speak at the Lucky Leaf Expo. But we're, especially with this new product, we're kind of curious, really quietly shopping around venues in Austin and see who, like if there's a pop-up or type of event, something that we can bring a safe HD9 product to there, so to people to have a live experience. It's I don't know, it's a lot to do, but man, it's so exciting to have these conversations. I love seeing the people's eyes go wide. I'm like, wait, what are you doing? Like, but as far as on our own end, we obviously have our extraction facility here in Austin, but our retail side of things is very much online storefront driven. We have some retail partners that we work with here locally, but yeah, definitely we focus on our online front. You can always, the contact us on our webpage goes straight to my own personal email. So don't abuse it, but you can always hit me up.
Like for now it does.
Right?
For now it does.
I was gonna say I do my best, like whether it's veterans or a lot of other ones that we have a soft spot for, being veterans ourselves, and we want people in the industry that we trust and we love to work with. And pulling people in from other industries that bring trust to the industry. Exactly what Derek is doing is, it's awesome. We can't thank guys enough to doing that type of accountability. And I mean, bringing that trust to the industry and having that aspect, because education is so hard. It's going to be a long-term thing to really get all the consumers. I mean, it's every day that we have to answer new questions, and we have to say no stupid questions, for real. Like, don't feel bad. You can say anything. But now with products like Derek's that have a long-term track and trace, in 3 years, you can look back and say, okay, I'm literate in it now. I can look back and yeah, these guys have been doing it right since day one. They've been, you have that, yeah, third party accountability to bring it to the table and say, yeah, we didn't play in the gray area. We didn't cut corners early on. We did it right. Because I mean, there's a lot of misinformation, and it's just hard to read a COA if you don't have a STEM degree or background. You just don't know what you're looking at. And I've had some people ask me of like, well, how can we even trust them? And like, to us on the science side, that's considered a legal document. If you change it, it's considered fraud. It's punishable, but people don't know that. And I mean, there's a lot of people who alter them not knowing that. So it's things like us, we're ingrained to trust COAs inherently, because if you bring that up in the wrong way, you're asking for legal trouble, but you just don't know that. So having that extra layer of, yeah, as many third parties and from as much from the soil to final product, as much visibility, because when you're looking at extraction techniques, THC remediation techniques, isomerization, there's responsible ways to do these in a lab, and there's cheap, awful ways to do it. That when you're working with hydrocarbons, Bronsted acids, things like that you just do not want in your body. When you go the extra 9, and I mean, like we do, and everything is food grade, everything's organic, down to the ethanol that we use, THC remediation, and our winterization, things like that. And it sucks because every time we want to change strains and we sanitize all of our equipment, it's organic ethanol. It's very expensive to do, but as of right now, it's just not worth the pennies to cut the corners. So to have that visibility, I repeat it over and over, but yeah, it's just a long thank you to Derek and guys like that. So it's awesome.
I love that, Geoff. And where else can you see 311 on a extractor's Instagram? But
90s kids.
Green Zero. Yes, for sure. For sure. No, I absolutely love it. I'm so excited about the new product, Geoff. It's going to be incredible. And you actually do white label for brands as well. Like you'll make somebody's product there, or you'll extract Texas hemp for someone if they want to create a brand, something like that. They can hit you up, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we work with a lot of retailers making just custom versions of whether it's concentration, carrier oil, flavoring. There's a lot of ways that we do to where we're not stepping on each other's toes. We've got parallel lanes. And on the nerd side of things, I love it. I love when people bring me something, because we all have our ingrained biases. Like I'm a much more of a cannabinoid profile guy than a terpene guy. But I need people to come and say, no, I want that terpene profile. I want this, because that way it washes out what I want, because it's what people want. And there's so much variability in this industry that is so exciting to make something new and somebody say, like, you hit the nail on the head. You did something great for me. And I didn't even think of it if I didn't have that partnership or that external input. So when we'll just sit down and spitball for half an hour, and just say, okay, like, you like this flavor? You want hemp seed oil? You want shelf stability? What is it we're after? And then we figure out backwards engineer the product, and it's so much fun.
That is amazing. And what a service to our community to get to have you here doing that cool science stuff. And now, Derek, how can people get a hold of you? What do you have coming up? Any special events, any speaking gigs? Tell us what's going on.
Sure. First, I'd like to, thank you, Geoff, for being one of the good guys in the industry. Those are exactly the kind of companies that we want to partner with and help, put on a pedestal. So that's, definitely thank you for that. That's who we're building our business around, for sure. And also thank you for your service to our country. Appreciate that, Geoff. As far as special events, I'll probably just maybe share our milestones and our product roadmap as far as the cool new features are going to be coming out this year. So by June, we're going to be recasting our webpage to make it a little more consumer friendly. And we're also going to start advertising more directly to consumers to try to push them towards our brand partners and market and truly present HealthLOQ as a place where consumers can go to for the trusted ones in industry. So look for that in June. And then probably Q4, we're working on an awesome new feature which is made possible because of blockchain technology by being able to uniquely identify, a biomass down to the extraction facility, down to the specific bottle. Now getting that all the way, not just seed to shelf visibility, but then seed to health outcome or experience visibility, because consumers, we're enabling the future where consumers can give feedback once they scan the QR code. So they have that specific batch or lot information. The consumer can give the feedback on their experience with that. Now that health outcome or experience is now tied to something, to a physical asset, which can be traced all the way back to a specific farmer's field. So enabling that feature and having and making that information available to the brand partners and to other upstream suppliers, with the consumer's consent, of course, which is also a cool feature of blockchain, is that you have more control over your information. So a consumer can permission out the use of their information and even retract it on the blockchain platform. So that we're hoping to get that launched by Q4.
Very cool.
And as far as how to contact me, same thing, on HealthLOQ.com. The email there goes to my email as well. So yeah, please, brands, especially we like to work with, but really anybody up and down the supply chain who wants to be more transparent and use that as a differentiator, that's what we want to work with. It could be anybody. And I mean, we're working with a retailer, a big retailer, a CBD retailer out here in Arizona, who are basically adopting us as almost like their quality assurance program to make sure that the brands that they bring in-house are properly vetted. And that's one of their big differentiators to their customers, is that they properly vet everything. Every batch, everything that comes in there in-house has to be properly vetted, but it's a big hassle just organizing the documents and then being able to present that to consumers. They don't really have a good way of doing it. And so they're asking us to step in and do that. So really anybody up and down the supply chain who wants to be more transparent, we'd love to talk to you.
Very cool. And can we expect a HealthLOQ like Dogecoin sometime soon, or no? We're just sticking to using the technology for this purpose, or can we mine at some point?
Maybe at some point, but for now, we're just going to stick to supply chain accountability.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, I think this is really important in the development of the industry as we go forward and become a more straightforward industry. And I also love the fact that this is applicable to not just CBD and hemp, but really any natural product, because it's very much the same way. If it's not really FDA vetted and verified, then who is vetting it? Well, this is an opportunity for a unbiased, really vetting of all of these products we see on the market.
Exactly.
And who would white out a COA and write a different date in? Oh, the same people that are whiting out their general liability insurance or product insurance. Those are the kind of people we don't want in this industry, because it's dangerous to the health of the consumers.
Yeah. And it's very difficult, like on the tour the other day, I scanned a few QR codes and all the information was there, but it like went to a website where I had to then find the product on a list, get there. And then it was like, click over here. And I had to go through all the COAs to find it. And they were all separate, like the cannabinoid profile and then the heavy metals in this giant list. And I was like, man, if I was a consumer, I would have given up at the initial scan. So this is going to be a much easier way to an organized way to hold this information. I love it. I love it. Now, Johan, Mr. White Rabbit, how can people learn more about the tours that you're doing? Where can we find you? And what if somebody wants to come to South Africa for a tour? How can they book that?
Well, hopefully, they'll be able to book it through you guys.
Yeah, there we go.
We are still procuring our stock for accommodation. So it's if they want to book, there's already some accommodations already on their buy-in. So I don't want to call names, Joe Biden. Please allow travelers to South Africa. But you can get us on Instagram, WeTravel_SA. And we're on Facebook as well as We Travel SA. And the website's horrible. You'll just see me there in the middle of the jungle with a tucked-in collar shirt. So getting lost in the jungle, down the rabbit hole. So the website's awful. but you're more than welcome to inquire for the itineraries and what we have to offer.
Definitely. Go follow We to Travel _SA. And you always have very interesting artsy stuff on here that I love. So, and there is that, oh, it's going to make me log in, but the Weed and Wine Tour, very, very cool. We actually have a free course on higheredhemptours.com that individuals can do. That basically it was myself talking with one of my really good friends that is a sommelier here in Austin, and she doesn't really know that much about cannabis. She loves to consume it. Me, on the other hand, I like the wine, but I know nothing about it. So we were just comparing the judging,
Exactly.
like how to judge, and she judges
Some
wine.
people like that and some don't, and we give the environment to suit both needs.
Yes,
You'll have
absolutely.
partners like that. The husband likes drinking wine, the wife likes stoning. So why don't we just mix both? And I know it goes a lot of people saying against, don't mix weed and wine. We'll have other tours where we just do weed, or you don't even have to do weed. You can do a CBD, or you can do a THC. So we love informing people and explaining to people. That's what we are about. That's exactly what we're doing now. We're informative. We explain to people, and we invite people to find out more about the family.
You're saving
That's
marriages
it.
here. See, the husband's a stoner, the wife is a wino. This is awesome.
There you go. I love it. I love it. Yeah, no, for sure. And there are so many similarities with wine and weed. Tongue twister there. Like the terpenes, the way that you sort of develop your palate and your olfactory senses, your nose, you can really develop that with wine, and then start picking out those terpenes and different profiles in cannabis as well. So I love that idea for a tour, and we can't wait to come and do it. So guys, this has been absolutely incredible. We've had such a blast with you here today on Earth Day. Thank you all for joining us. You're doing some amazing contributions here for the cannabis industries in all of your localities, and of course here in Texas. So thank you so much for being on the show. Everybody, please go out and follow these individuals, these awesome guys. And we will see you next week on Hemp Tours Live. Roll it.
Mhm.